If you're thinking about home educating your child, you've probably asked yourself one question before anything else. Can I actually do this legally? Do I need permission? Will the council stop me? Could I get fined? Could my child be taken away? I've heard every one of those questions from parents who are considering home education. And the truth is, most people have been told things that simply aren't true. So, in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what the law says in England, what your responsibilities are, what school and local authorities can and can't do, and hopefully give you the confidence to make an informed decision. One of the biggest reasons parents feel overwhelmed is because we spend our whole lives believing school is compulsory. But here's something that surprises most people. School isn't compulsory, education is. Those two things aren't the same. In England, parents have a legal duty to ensure their child receives a suitable education, but the law doesn't actually say that education has to happen inside a school building. That difference changes everything. It's one of the biggest misconceptions about education in the UK. Thousands of families legally educate their children at home every single year. Some because of bullying, some because of autism, some because mainstream school simply wasn't working. Others because they believe they can provide a better education themselves. Different reasons, same legal rights. Let's look at the law itself. The main piece of legislation is Section 7 of the Education Act 1996. It states that parents have the duty to ensure their child receives an efficient, full-time education suitable to their age, ability, aptitude, and any special educational needs they may have. Notice something? It never says that education must happen in school. It simply says children must receive a suitable education. That's an important distinction. The law also doesn't prescribe a national curriculum for home educators. You don't legally have to follow school timetables. You don't have to recreate a classroom at home. And you don't have to teach between 9 to 3. Home education can look very different from one family to another. Some families follow structured lessons, others use project-based learning, some follow child-led approaches, many use a combination of everything. The law allows flexibility because children learn differently. This is probably the question I get asked most often. Do I need permission? Usually, no. If your child attends a mainstream school, you simply write to the school informing them you're electively home educating. The school removes them from the register. You don't need approval. You aren't applying, you're notifying them. There is one important exception. If your child attends a special school under an EHCP, Education, Health and Care Plan, then local authority consent is normally required before removing them from the school roll. That's because the legal process is slightly different. So while most parents don't need permission, families in that situation should seek advice before withdrawing. Another common worry is, will the council keep checking on us? Local authorities do have responsibilities. Their job is to identify children who may not be receiving a suitable education. If they make inquiries, parents are expected to satisfy them that appropriate education is taking place. That doesn't automatically mean home visits, contrary to popular belief. You don't have to allow someone into your home simply because you're home educating. Many local authorities communicate by email, written reports, or meetings elsewhere. Practices can vary between councils, but the important thing is demonstrating that your child is receiving a suitable education if asked. If the authority genuinely believes suitable education isn't being provided, they may begin a formal process, but that only happens where there are legitimate concerns, not simply because you've chosen home education. What about GCSEs and socialisation? This is where myths often take over. People ask, but what about GCSEs? Home educated children absolutely can sit GCSEs. Families usually arrange exams privately through exam centres. Others choose different qualification depending on what's right for their child. Then there's probably the biggest myth of all. What about socialisation? The reality is, home educated children often socialise with people of different ages every single week. Sports clubs, forest clubs, music groups, home education communities, libraries, museums, work experience, volunteering. The question isn't whether children socialise, it's where and with whom. Socialisation simply looks different. And for many children, particularly autistic children or those with PDA, that flexibility can make an enormous difference. Of course, every family is different. Home education isn't automatically the right choice for everyone. It requires commitment, planning, and adapting as your child grows. But legally, it is an entirely valid educational pathway. When we first started considering home education, I had exactly the same fears. I genuinely thought someone might tell us we couldn't do it. The more I researched the law, the more I realised many of those fears came from misunderstanding rather than reality. For our family, it has given our children the opportunity to learn in ways that actually suit them, especially of parents of autistic children. That doesn't mean it's always easy, it isn't. But understanding our legal rights gave us the confidence to make the decision that was right for our family. So, if you've been wondering, can I legally home educate my child? The answer for most parents in England is yes. You don't need to become a qualified teacher. You don't have to recreate school at home. And you certainly shouldn't feel guilty for exploring what might genuinely be the best option for your child. Learn the facts, ignore the myths, then make the right decision for you and your family. If you're considering home education and still have questions, leave them in the comments below. I read every single one and it will also help shape future videos. If you'd like straightforward experience-led advice on home education, autism and PDA, consider subscribing. We've been through this ourselves and our goal is simply to help other families make informed decisions. And if you're wondering what home education actually looks like on a day-to-day, watch this next video. Everything we wish we knew before we started home educating.